morning. Happy Sunday. What is going on, Woodward Sports? Had got my man Beastie here with me. We got a big day of college basketball. We got some golf we got going on today. We got some NASCAR. We got some NBA. And, of course, we got some NHL. But what's going on, Beastie? How's your weekend so far?
It was outstanding, and I don't know. I'm just going to bring this up, and if it's shocking or if you relate to it, let me know. All day yesterday was the kind of a long end to the week, right? Shout out to Kelly; she came to town. She has at Woodward, but that whole thing being kind of free Wednesday and moving on, I still had work and stuff like that. I thought yesterday was Sunday, meaning today, this morning would be Monday. And when I woke up and realized, hey, it's only Sunday, it's a really good feeling. You feel more productive that you could sit down at Sunday, nowhere to go, nowhere to be, and we can roll with it. And we're just chocked full of sports goodness today. I guess you would call it a sporgy is what they call it, all the sports in one day like this.
Yeah, it was real nice to meet Kelly the other day. She came in from Kelly from Phoenix, and we were talking to her. Maybe we'll get her on here, Beastie, and get her to talk some golf. I know she's a big golf fan. I mean, hey, being in Arizona, I mean, it seems like that would be the fun pastime to do to keep you busy. I mean, I don't blame her. I'd be out there golfing myself. I mean, we might be able to get out there and golf today, Beastie, with this nice weather we have outside. Don't stick your head out, man. It's nice. It's supposed to be 60 something today. And the wind is howling, though. But, man, kind of looking forward to getting out there today. And got to watch some sports, though. We got a big game, though, at 12:30 today, Beastie. We got our boys Big Blue, and they're going to be facing Ohio State. So that's obviously a big game we're going to have to pay attention to. Coming into these tournaments here next weekend, we're going to have some tournaments to start. Yeah. And looking forward to that. But, Beastie, what'd you think of what's going on here today? What'd you think of this weekend? Did you watch any of the combine? Did you watch anything along the ways? I saw a little bit of the combine. It was kind of interesting seeing that Jordan Davis. He looks like an animal.
Yeah, that kid is fantastic. And there's a lot to be plucked from that, right? You can make a list and you can go from and check it twice and go from start to finish. To me, with the combine, it's kind of, relive it in a way or check it out as it comes. Like I wouldn't willingly, and maybe this afternoon I will go through everything, but social media, once again, it's either you're in or you're out. You're either right or you're wrong, and you're a jerk or you're not a jerk. And most folks, actually, it's split right down the middle, Scott. Half of the folks think, the fantasy sports writers and football people, they say that the combine is useless to project how well a kid is going to play as a professional football player. And then the other half live and die for the stuff because it is a little taste of football. We've all been excited watching college all these years. Maybe you're following one specific kid like this Jordan Davis defensive lineman, I believe, from Georgia. So it's either combine is useless, you don't use it for anything, and you get the other half folks that say it's very useful and it's nice. It's a nice battle. It's a give and take. It's like Godzilla, versus the world there, that meta thing, whatever, that big fly that Godzilla used to take on. So to me, it's going to be fun. I will, as I said, I'll check it out as I'm going about my day here. Just alerts pop up on the phone here and we go on. I liked what I saw from Aiden Hutchinson. I believe he was like a 4.76, something along those lines. And then obviously you're going to get a slew of these kids, these wide receivers that are running a 4.3, 4.2. A wide receiver stud running a 4.4 would kind of be the end of it, but it's awesome. And every year, correct me if I'm wrong, every year, I'm not kidding, I feel like these kids get faster and faster. Years ago, I'd watch the combine and like 4.6, 4.7 was, oh my God, that's fast. Now it's like 4.20, 4.21. You're setting records. So to me, the combine is juicy and it gets good every year. It's all what you make of it, right? If you're going to get in your own head and go, it's use. So to me, combine is very much good. You can make notes for your upcoming seasonal fantasy football drafts.
Yeah, I mean, some of these kids, BC, are so damn fast. You're right. It's unreal how fast some of these guys are. But that's what I like paying attention to is the speed. The other day we saw a clip of Malik Willis throwing a deep ball, and I saw all the Lions slappies. Oh, we got to draft a quarterback. We need a quarterback. And I'm thinking they're just trying to sell you that's just so we can get a higher draft pick, maybe get some trade value out of that. I can't see them drafting a quarterback at number 2. I just don't see it. I could see them wanting to trade. That would be the ideal situation, but yeah, either way, BC, it's fun. We'll get into betting on the draft. I know Beer and I bet on the draft. We've talked about it with each other over the past few years. You can bet on what team's going to get who's going to be the first position
Yeah.
player taken out of positions. It's a lot of fun. And Beastie, from what I understand, you're going to be out there in Vegas, so we'll have to chime
Correct.
in and talk to you as you're out there, because that sounds like that'd be a lot of fun to be out to Vegas for the draft. I mean, but I will say though, Beastie, Beer Man next Thursday is heading out to Vegas. He said he'll give us some updates for this NCAA tournament in the first couple games. So kind of looking forward to hearing what Beer Man's got to say. Maybe we'll catch part of the action while we're out there in Vegas. But we do have these NCAA, these conference tournaments coming up. And Beastie, I'm going to go over a little point that we discussed the other day. So let's say Beastie, you like it, like Michigan is probably going to be maybe the 8 seed, 7 seed, something like that in the conference tournament. So we're going to guess they're going to be about 10, 12 to 1, something like that. So instead of betting on just Michigan to win the tournament at 12 to 1, Beastie, I was talking about a money line rollover kind of bet where the
Okay.
first game, obviously, they'll probably be a favorite because, they're going to play maybe an 8 or 9 or be a close, maybe a small dog. So if you bet $100, you're probably going to have 220 or so, 210 after you bet that. Well, now roll that 210 over again because now they're probably going to be a slight underdog. If you win that one, you'll probably have, let's say, close to 500. So now you're only 2 games in. So now you're going to bet that 500. So you keep rolling over your money line. You bet on them to win the tournament anyway. You would only got 12 to 1, but if you keep rolling over your money line money, by that time you get to that fourth game, you're going to be above that 12 to 1 than what you would have been able to bet at the book. So just keep rolling it over. If you want, you get to that finals, it's almost like a hedge. You could decide not to roll it over, roll part of it over, whatever else. So it gives you a little bit more options. So instead of betting on those teams at 8, 9 to 1 to win their conference tournaments, I mean, they got to play 3, 4 games in a weekend. So just roll it over. I think that's just a better way of getting more money for your bet. You know what I mean? So just a little trick of the trade that I've done over the past few years, maybe 3 or 4 years. When Michigan rolled off the runway, Beastie, you remember when they did that and they went on that real nice run and they won the Big Ten tournament and they went on and did fairly well in the NCAA tournament. I had actually was doing that rollover for that. So that's pretty much where I came up with that a couple years ago. But just something to think about as these tournaments come up, just a different way of betting on them. But Beastie, we do have a couple games here to look at today. Before we get to that, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the show, and that is Better Rate Mortgage. So if you're looking for a mortgage, come look at Better Rate Mortgage. Better Rate Mortgage, family is more than blood.
Family.
If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit mybetterrate.com or call 248-480-4467 today. But BC, I gotta apologize to all you guys, man. I was out hooping it up last night, 50th birthday party, and the peach crown and apple crown was flowing around like crazy. The guy whose
Oh,
birthday it was, my good buddy Lenny, he loves his Crown Royal, so everybody was bringing him over bottles. Whether it was peach, the peach is actually pretty good, but buddy, I'm feeling it this morning. But we're gonna plow through the show here. That's what we
man.
do. There's no days off for the bet show. That's what we do here. But
Let's run it. Yeah.
Beastie, like I said, we got some college hoops today. So we got 6 Big Ten games today. But Michigan versus the Buckies. We like to what do we like to always say about the Buckies? But
Yep.
watching some college, yeah, exactly. Watching some college basketball. Did you see that Coach K send off yesterday? I think that was a little bit too much.
Yeah, it was. It was made me uncomfortable, and again, maybe I would catch heat for that if I said that out loud in a tweet or anything. But to be honest with you, Coach K is an institution down there at Duke. I mean, he is the coaching. He is the coaching tree. That's him, and that's about it here. Guy's been there. I don't know specifically, but I'm thinking it's got to be dang near 40 years here with him. So all the players and the studs and the people he helped that came through that place, it's outstanding. But yeah, it was was a little bit too much. It made me feel like it was some sort of Miss America beauty pageant. It was all the theatrics and flowers and confetti. I mean, it's a little too much. And I understand the point that the university and all the kids and the players and the parents that he has talked with and helped from day one, until yesterday. It's a very important thing. I know you've coached a little thing, couple things before. I coached Special Olympics, so it's an honor, right, to be in front of these kids, men, women, children, whatever it is, and to give a piece of yourself consistently for so long to something. It's very meaningful. But to be honest with you, maybe that's why you and I, or me and Coach K, are different in a way. Aside from coaching a Division I basketball team, I'm more humble. Like, if you think I'm doing a good job, tell me I'm good, and I'll say thank you. I appreciate all the love and support. I'm not going to drone on and kind of toot my own horn. And I don't know if Coach K, if they had to okay all this stuff with him and say, hey, your last game, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I don't know. But Coach K is an institution. I remember this guy going back to when I was a kid, back when Sports Center was awesome. Rich Eisen, Kenny Mayne, and all these guys, Stuart Scott. Like, that was the golden age of sports broadcasting and college hoopster. So I wish Coach K the best. He's nothing but love here, and he's just an unbelievably gifted and talented coach, along with just being a good man. I don't think we've ever heard a story where he punched a kid or he grabbed someone's butt or something weird like that. In today's day and age, you don't even have to talk like that. But in today's day and age, people go through every little thing you've done in all these years. And Coach K, it's just got a heart of gold.
Yeah, I mean, basketball icon. I can't deny that. I know, back in the Michigan days, Fab Five days, we like to give Duke a lot of shit. Obviously, that was kind of like their little rival there. But I mean, hey, you got to give him kudos, all the gold medals, all the everything he did for USA basketball, everything else. But just kind of watching that yesterday, I was like, man, this is a little bit too much. I heard them tickets were going for astronomical amounts of money, but no thanks. I'll sit over at my buddy's 50th birthday as I was doing, and having a good time as we were. But just want to give some shout outs, Beastie. Looks like our chat is rolling pretty good. Detroit Dabber is in there. 313 Kelly in Phoenix, of course, is in there. We were talking with her, earlier on Friday, as we mentioned. Joey two times, of course. Joey's always in there, one of our loyal supporters. We always appreciate Joey checking it out. But Jenna is in there as well. So, hey, if you guys got anything you guys want to talk about, go ahead and chime in, and we'll do our best to get to it. But, Beastie, as I was mentioning here, we do have 6 games in the Big Ten today, pretty much the last regular season game. We'll start with the one at noon, Beastie. We got Penn State at Rutgers. Rutgers -6. 70% of the money is coming in on Rutgers at this point, -125. But we've seen Penn State struggle. 12-15, Rutgers 17-12. I'd say Rutgers might be on the outside looking in. I haven't really seen if they're in the tournament or not. I haven't dug that far deep, but I'm going to guess they're going to need this victory here and maybe get one here in the Big Ten tournament. But what do you think about this Penn State Rutgers game, Beast? We don't have to spend too much time on it. I know we got a couple other big ones, but this one here is on the docket here. So what do you think?
At first glance, from like a 10,000-foot view, they're very evenly matched. When you go back their last 5 games, Rutgers is 2-3, and Penn State is the same thing, 2-3. And then when we get through the league rankings, all the NCAA basketball statistics, points scored, points per game, field goal percentage, even free throw percentage, it's basically even across the board. So this is a pick 'em, if you want to do that. I looked at the sports book, and it is what it is, but I would prefer to take Rutgers in this one. We've talked about them a few times on this broadcast. I remember even Beer mentioned them that this time last week, if I'm not mistaken, when they were playing Wisconsin here. So give me Rutgers in a scrappy game, and you'd love to see a team like Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights, get in the NCAA tournament. So give me, Rutgers over Penn State in this one.
Yeah, they played earlier, January 11th. Penn State at home ended up getting a 17-point victory. Actually, and that spread was only 2. So they put a whooping on Rutgers. So I'm sure they're going to want some revenge for that. But in these games like this, Beastie, when I'm not sure, if I got to bet on it, I'm just taking the home team. It just seems like, especially in these college basketball, home team generally seems to pull through for us. But moving all right along here, Beastie. Of course, also in the Big Ten, we got a big game here for our Michigan Wolverines facing the Ohio State Buckies here. But Ohio State minus 4.5, 65% of the money's coming in over under 143. But Michigan here is 6-4 in their last 10 against the spread. Ohio State is 5-5, but just kind of looking. Michigan needs to get this victory here. I think Michigan's going to be hungry.
Big time.
Just kind of, yeah, big time. I think here looking, the road team is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 meetings, but Michigan has been playing a lot of overs here recently. Over is 5-0 in the last 5 games as a road underdog for Michigan. Over is 5-1 in their last 6 road games overall, and OSU here is 5-1 against the spread the last 6 games with a team with a winning record. So over is also 6-2 in the Buckeyes' last 8 Sunday games, which isn't that important of all of a trend. But just kind of looking here, Beastie, I think Dickinson needs to get it going. Ohio State did lose, I think, their last no, they lost their last 2 before they ended up beating the Sparties. But yeah, they didn't look very good against Nebraska. I thought that was one. I know you and I were kind of chuckling about that when they lost to Nebraska by 8, and they were 15-point favorites. So I don't know here if Michigan. I think they got to play well today. I think they need this victory. But I'm going to be a homer today, Beastie, and I'm going to roll with Michigan. I'm going to take the points, and I'm even going to take them on the money line today. But what do you think about Michigan and Ohio today?
Yeah, you got some stones for that one. When we look, I want to revisit briefly, go back to the last time these two teams played a few weeks back. It was a highly contested game, and then boom, Ohio State, took it, and they were dancing in the locker room. I know if you're a Michigan fan or an Ohio State fan, you watched that video. If you're a Bucky, you were elated, you were excited. If you're a Michigan fan, it kind of upsets you because across the board, this isn't just a football rivalry. It's a school. It's a state versus state. Michigan and Ohio. I mean, I think Ohio is awful. It's flat, but I digress. There's nothing going on Cedar Point, but sure. When we look at this one, last time they played, Michigan, realistically here, Scott, Michigan, they lost the game, but they also gave Ohio State kind of a little spark, a spark that they needed to kind of get rolling here. And now when we fast forward to today's game, Michigan needs a spark. They need to light something up here and go on a run here. And again, I've said it's an emotional commitment, and that's because acting Michigan basketball head coach Phil Martelli had this to say: we have an emotional commitment to this game and calling it what it is. We didn't have emotional commitment to start the game last time out. So if you move around the pieces, all he's saying is last time they played and lost, that they went into it like business as usual. But now today, this Phil Martelli guy is telling them, get vested, get pumped up, and get emotionally invested for this one. And let's see what we can do here. So I'm with you. I don't know. I want to be open and honest with folks. I just don't know if I feel comfortable betting on this game because I prefer to just watch it as a fan, kind of objectively, and see where it leads me. Because again, as we broadcast a little bit more this morning, you'll see I'm moving my chips in other directions here. But yeah, let's go with the Michigan Wolverines to beat Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, I can't root for Ohio State to do anything. I can't stand that stinking place. And as you mentioned, Ohio, I mean, they do have Cedar Point, which is fun, but we can't leave out Kalahari, Beastie. That's pretty fun too in Ohio. I don't know if you guys ever been in the wintertime, but nice little break. So we'll give them that. They got Cedar Point, and we'll give them. You can even go SeaWorld if you want to go that way. But other than that, no reason for me to go to Ohio unless I'm flying or driving by. And matter of fact, Beastie, my kids from an early age, they always laugh at me whenever we're going down 75 and we're going into Ohio. I usually give them the one finger salute to the Ohio side, just because we know how they feel about us Michiganders. So just like to let them know I'm coming through anyway. But yeah, so just kind of looking at this game here, Beastie, I am a little concerned about it. Don't get me wrong, but I just think Michigan comes out today, plays with that fire. Hopefully they can get it done. I think that 4.5 points is a little too high. But just kind of looking at the chat here, Rob J thinks Rutgers is easy money today. I like that. I think Rutgers is pretty good money. You got Matthew here saying good morning to Beastie, Matthew Osterman. We got a couple other guys here saying they like the Noah's like the Ohio State slander. Of course, we always like to give the Buckeye shit. I mean, that's what we do. We're fans. We're Michigan fans. We're in Detroit. We're in Michigan. we love to give those guys a bunch of crap. But Beastie,
No
moving on
doubt.
today here so far in the Big Ten. We do have two other games in the Big Ten. We have Beerman's Nebraska team here traveling to Wisconsin. Wisconsin minus 12. 55% of the money coming in on Nebraska at this point. Over under 148.5, which hasn't moved.
Mm.
Both teams hovering around 500 in their last 10 against the spread. The over-unders are something. The overs have been hitting for Wisconsin, which is something that we normally do not see. But just looking at some trends here for them, road team 7-1 against the spread in the last 8 games. The underdog is 6-2 in the last 8 games. But the Badgers have been struggling here as favorites. 1-6 against the spread in the last 7 games as a favorite. And Nebraska here has been playing attuned to quite a bit of overs. Over 5-1 in the Cornhuskers' last 6 games here. The over is 4-1 in the Cornhuskers' last 5 games following against the spread win. But 12.5 here, I think, is quite a bit. Just kind of looking at some recent games here. Wisconsin has basically, they're going on the last 4 years. Nebraska cover, Wisconsin cover, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Nebraska. So they've been switching on and off. So just kind of going by that silly trend. You would think Wisconsin covered, but BC, I don't really have a strong feeling on this one. I think if I was bet anything on this game here, I think I might look at the over.
Yeah, when I look at this thing, I have no issue betting with Wisconsin in this one. 5-0 their last 5 games in comparison to Nebraska, who I believe is 2-3 here. The one thing that strikes me is right, Wisconsin has been rolling. I believe they're 24-9, 24-5, something like that. But in their last 5 games, they're not scoring a ton of points. So that leads me to believe when I look at their last 5 games and I do the math in my head, you're looking at they're averaging about 71, 72 points a game. 72 would be a little ambitious, but so in a basketball game, if you're scoring 72 points, specifically like the pros or even the higher upper echelon NCAA teams, 70 points is it's not that much. I mean, you can get that in 3 quarters in some instances here. So that leads me to believe that Wisconsin is just playing outstanding defense. They're ball hawking, they're pressing, they're doing everything they need to do to kind of not fool the other team per se, but make the other team kind of lose their way, fluster them. So to me, I think Wisconsin wins this one. And I hesitate to say Wisconsin wins and it's not close because that's kind of a douchey vibe here. But I think Wisconsin wins and it's not close. But when we look at that point spread, you said they're giving Nebraska 12 points. I think, Wisconsin can win by double digits and more times than not, we see these spreads and it's boom, it's right there. So I could see a case here where Wisconsin wins by 10 or 11 points. And if you took the 12, you'd be screwed here. So I'm with you. I'm going to stay away from this thing, or I can do the Scotty G special and I can tease it. I could tease the points a little bit, add another point or two for Nebraska, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, those alternate lines are always available. That's something, that you could always take a look at. That is for sure. But yeah, BC, we got another big game too here in the Big Ten, which, both of our Michigan teams, we need to get victories today. And that one here would be Maryland facing Michigan State. Now, BC, last time these guys played was right before Michigan State went on this little slide here that they had. If you remember, Michigan State coming into this game, I think they were ranked like 20th at the time, looking for a Big Ten title. They ended up winning here. Last second shot, they ended up winning, 65-63. And then all of a sudden, Michigan State just kind of fell off the table, obviously losing 7-9 after that. But, man, this Maryland team, they've been playing pretty well. They've won the last 4 out of 5, beating Minnesota. They beat Ohio State. They lost to Indiana. They beat Penn State, and then they beat Nebraska. So these last 2 victories here, especially against Ohio State and Minnesota, were pretty good victories here. I mean, just kind of looking here, 4.5 or 6 points here for the Sparties, -6. Beastie, I'm a little worried here. I think that's a little bit too much for Michigan State to be given Maryland. I'd feel a little bit better if it was like 3, maybe 4, but I think the 6 points, I think it's just a little bit too high, and I'd be concerned here if I was a Sparty betting man today. I'm not going to be looking at it, but Beastie, what do you think here? I think them 6 a little too high.
Yeah, I'm with you. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't know why I'm saying this because we know where my allegiance lies. I'm a Michigan guy, but Michigan State here, they've been, yeah, you say they've been on a slide. I mean, it's been a full blown, downward spiral here when you look at it. Just reading some of the notes I have, Izzo is angry that he let the team kind of succumb the last two games. They've lost 7 of their last 9, and it's just they need to win this game. I mean, if they miss out, if they don't win today, there's a chance that are they left out of the tournament altogether. I mean, that would be a shocking kind of development here, but it's possible. And when you look at Maryland, it's just ho-hum basketball, literally 500, 15 and 15 here. And when you look at Michigan State here, they have to be, they've got, not, I don't want to say they're in their own head, but they have to be a little bit apprehensive and bummed out in a way. There's probably little to no confidence here after they've been manhandled by Michigan, and then Ohio State beat the pants off of them here. So two of their most highly publicized contested rivals, Michigan and Ohio State here, that they got the floor mopped with them. So now they turn their attention to Maryland, and maybe in a way, I'm just saying this out loud, right? Maybe in a way, Izzo and Michigan State, because it's the Spartans basketball program, there's always going to be a certain air of confidence here. And if they go into this basketball game here in a few hours and say, you know what, we lost to Michigan, Ohio State, along with some other big time Big Ten teams, and Maryland shouldn't be that much of an issue. And this is going to be a get right game for us Spartans here. That's a massive mistake. They need to head into this one just laser focused like the Terminator if they want to get anything done. Personally, I'm not saying this because I dislike Michigan State, but I do think that Maryland will get the job done here, whether it's a last second field goal, last second inbound pass with like 2 seconds left, the ball goes in, buzzer goes off, and boom, State is left holding their hat here in this one. So give me the Terrapins, Maryland Terrapins, to win this one.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of look at these last in the head-to-head, Beastie. They've won the last 4 out of 5 against the spread, that being Maryland. They've won the actually last 3 out of 5 heads up too. Actually, 4 out of 5 heads up. So, yeah, I mean, Maryland's had Michigan State's numbers. You just kind of look here at the over/unders. Man, the unders have come in 6 out of the last 7 times in this series here. So, something to think about there. But BC, just kind of looking at the chat. Chat's having some fun today. Matthew, I agree with you. We should be on the roar too. We definitely should be on the roar. I'm gonna have to bring that up here the next time we go in the meeting. We're our bet show. We're kind of like we're kind of like Rudolph. We don't get to play in all the reindeer games. We get to play in a little bit, but we're gonna get there as a community. The sports betting community. People aren't still sure how to take us yet, right? I mean, we're still kind of
Agree.
fresh. We're not legal in all the states, so that is something that is to be said. But we're getting there. We're getting there. I mean, sports betting
No doubt.
is turning the corner. I mean, shit, Beastie. A couple years ago, we couldn't even bet on our phone. Now all of a sudden, we got
It's
the
everywhere.
luxury. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I mean, hey, it's something we love. Obviously, we like to do. That's why we're here, to talk with all you guys about it. But man, it's
No
just
doubt.
it's something else. I'm having a lot of fun these last couple years. That is for sure. But
Yeah.
we didn't really get too many
Scott.
of these March Madnesses either. So here we are coming to
No.
March Madness. We got new toys, and here we are. I mean, nothing better than betting on March Madness.
No, I want to shout out to Matthew Osterman. He's a friend of mine. He plays with Jonathan, plays softball together. He's in the same basketball league. And Matthew, he's a huge Michigan fan. I mean, if he sees your sweater you got on, that U of M one, and this kid's a monster. He's just as tall as I am, and he posts up under the basket. So shout out to you, Matthew, and your 2 brothers. Very supportive family there with Matthew and everything he does. I try and push him in there every time I see Matthew. I say, hey, I'm on Woodward, because he always brings it up. Yeah, I like Woodward Sports, and it's so good to see Matthew here watching the video in the chat here Sunday morning.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Matthew. But hey, do us a favor, hit that like button though for us. We definitely appreciate that. But Beastie, before we get too far, I just want to bring out and talk about our other sponsor of the show. That is Jars Cannabis, jarscannabis.com, a medical and recreational retailer here in Michigan, located all over Metro Detroit, Grand Rapids, Flint, and more here. But yeah, Jars Cannabis. I went by there the other day, Beastie. Really nice place, nice building. A lot of friendly bud tenders in there. Chris and Maddie and Bailey were in there, so had some fun talking with them. But if you head on in there, check it out. But you get 20% off for mentioning the Woodward Sports Network when you go on in there. So do us a favor if you're driving by and that's something that you partake in. Stop in and check it out. I was actually impressed with the prices on even just everyday stuff. I actually bought a pipe in there. Was pretty happy with what I got. So I had a lot of fun in there talking to them. So definitely appreciate them being a part of the show. But Beastie, we got to carry on here with this Big Ten basketball here we got today. Other than that Michigan State game here, we do also have Iowa and Illinois here. I think this one here is going to be a pretty good game. I actually kind of view these teams as kind of similar to me, but just looking at the spread here, Illinois minus 3.5. The over under is 154. But Beastie, man, this guy here in the middle for Illinois. I mean, this guy is a beast, as
Kofi.
we've mentioned here before. But what are you thinking about this game here?
This is what, you know what, I rarely do I watch college basketball from start to finish, like anybody else. Everything's just available at your fingertips. I could watch it tomorrow or, live right now. But this one, I might actually sit down and at least put it on. You know what I mean? When you put on a movie and you're doing busy work, just have it on the TV. So at a moment's notice, I can look and see see how it's playing. Because I've made no secret about my love for Kofi Cogburn here. This kid is phenomenal. And it happened like a month or two ago. I just so happen to have it on TV. I believe I was with Jonathan. That guy watches high school girls basketball. But to me, Kofi Cogburn is the key in this one. And I see no way around him in the middle of the court today. But I will say Iowa is just been running hot. I believe they're 5-0 their last 5 games. They won in Michigan, Northwestern, in Nebraska. They beat Michigan State and Ohio State back to back here. So to me, Iowa comes into this one really running hot. But I'm telling you, I don't want to say that Iowa's running into a buzzsaw with the Fighting Illini, but they're equally as good team. I believe one is 20th and the other one is 24th here. But to me, and I'm not saying anything profound here, the key to all of this is Kofi Cogburn. Let's see what this kid can do. And more times than not, I believe, I'm not making this up. It was something I remembered from the other day. When Kofi Cogburn scores, I believe, anything over 24 points, Illinois has only lost like 1, maybe 2 games in the entire season or the entire length of Kofi's tenure here with Illinois. So to me, I know Iowa's running hot, but I just find myself rooting for the Fighting Illini and this Kofi Cockburn kid. So give me Illinois to beat Iowa and end that 5-game winning streak.
Yeah, now this game's at 7:30, Beastie. So earlier in the day, Wisconsin, as we already discussed, is going to be playing Nebraska. Now, if Wisconsin wins, Illinois loses their shot here at conference share. Sharing with the Big Ten regular season here, get a share of that. And then they could be the number 1 seed. But if not, if Wisconsin ends up beating Nebraska, they need to solidify that number 2 seed here in the Big Ten tournament. So very interesting, though. So got to keep our eye on that Wisconsin game. If somehow Wisconsin loses to Nebraska, I think you're going to see an Illinois team really focused and probably have some jump in their step here with that opportunity to get a share of that Big Ten title. So that is something that we're going to want to pay attention to a little bit. As we mentioned, you get in these tournaments and, you get down to the end of the season here, teams' motivation is a huge thing. But we got another 7:30 game, Beastie, Minnesota Northwestern. Not as exciting as the others here, but Northwestern minus 7.5, 137, 72% of the money are coming on this road team here, Minnesota. But Beastie, I can't say I got a lean either way on this one here. It does look like a bunch of the money is coming in on Minnesota, but you got any thoughts on this one?
Not really. When you look at both teams, they're exactly they're a mirror image of each other. They're both 15-15. They're both 1-5 their last 5 games. And you look down, points scored, field goal percentage. It's literally 50-50, cut and dry in this one. So I'll pull a page out of your book, the home team. I'm going to run with the home team in this one, and we'll see what we got. I mean, there's other basketball games here this afternoon that I like that should be more entertaining. But if you've ever followed the rule of sports betting or just watching college basketball, watch this one be the most entertaining game out of all of them, having just glanced over it, just at a moment's notice.
Yeah, so BC, that pretty much going to do it for our college basketball. But, there's some other stuff we got going on today. I'm going to get into golf. As we mentioned, I had bet on Rory to win the tournament. Started out great, had a 3-shot lead. He's just falling apart here these last couple days. Billy Horschel is winning. Victor Hovland is close there. Taylor Gooch as well. Scotty Scheffler. But just kind of looking at some of these odds, you can get Billy Horschel plus 260 if he's going to carry it over the finish line today. Victor Hovland plus 350. Gooch is plus 350. Scheffler is plus 500, and Rory plus 1,700 if you think he can make a comeback today. But I'll be watching a little bit of golf today. I don't think I'm going to be making any bets on Rory at 17-1, but I don't mind that. But I think actually I'm going to look a little bit at Victor Hovland today. I just think he's a better player than the guys he's going to be chasing down here. So maybe a little Victor Hovland today for me at 3.5-1. I think that looks pretty decent. But Beastie, as we mentioned, we're going to get Kelly in here to help us out with our golf as we move forward. So kind of looking forward to that. But we'll get her coming on. I know Wednesday is the big golf day before the tournament, so we'll get her on here as well. But Beastie, what do you got first from NHL? We got some early games today. We got a couple early ones. We got 8 games on the slate. No Red Wings, but we do have 2 1:00 games and a 4:00 game today.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what it's all about, right? So when you look at this slate in general, the overview, as you said it, it's 8 games all day, 2 at 1 p.m. LA at Buffalo, St. Louis at New Jersey, and then we get a 4 p.m. game, 2 7 p.m. games, and then boom, we get 2 8 p.m. games. So when we look at this one, right, you have to the way both formats break it down. I would imagine already at this moment in time, FanDuel, DraftKings has an early only, so like that, and it'd be LA at Buffalo, St. Louis and New Jersey. But if you're going to get wild and play the all-day slate, that locks at 1. First puck drop, as we said, is in Buffalo. Or you can split it up. I've made no secret about the fact that I love to split it up. I absolutely love a good 2-game slate. You can hammer home, all the different combinations, and we move on. But let's go from start to end here really quick. If we're going to play early only, I love the idea of Buffalo's first line. And that goes without, I love LA's first line as well. I mention them all the time, and that's no secret. It's Anze Kopitar, Adrian Kempe, and Alex Aflalo. But when you look at Buffalo here in this one, Buffalo's they're a heavy underdog here because LA is LA and Buffalo's Buffalo. So Buffalo's getting a goal and a half in this one for betting purposes. When you look at it, I would imagine that I'm leaning towards Buffalo plus the goal and a half here. I think the final score, LA, Buffalo, I'm thinking it's like 5-4, something along those lines. So there's 2 things at play here. You could take Buffalo. Their money line probably wouldn't pay off, right? Because I have LA winning. But you could take Buffalo plus the goal and a half, which is plus money. And you can stack up Buffalo's first line, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, and Jeff Skinner here. So again, out of all the games that today, I've made this clear for weeks and months now. I pick one game from the entire schedule, and that's the one I stack in that little, at least on FanDuel, I stack them up. There's a 3 max entry. It's $2 to get in, and boom, I'm going to stack this game up every which way. So when we move on here, I also like Tampa Bay second line. We're going to fast forward to 7 p.m. here now, if folks don't mind. The Tampa Bay Lightning go to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks, and anytime I can dog on Chicago and the Blackhawks, I'll do that. I've gotten into some conversations the last few days of folks asking me about the NFC North. Which team do you hate the most? And hockey Central, what team do you hate the most? And it's always the Chicago Blackhawks, just because. And you look at this team, Jonathan Taves, Patrick Kane. Kane is still a superstar, but they're starting to age out, and I that's tough for me to say because I'm starting to age out too. Only thing is, I'm not playing professional hockey here. So to me, Tampa Bay is in a great spot tonight. And again, probably a little bit chalky, but we have the cover of a big 8-game slate here. So to me, I would prefer Tampa Bay second line. If you're looking at Steven Stamkos in first, second line center, first power play unit, Alex Killorn, these 3 guys here, and even Braden Point, he goes back and forth between first line and the second line here. Of all the games on the slate, I have Tampa Bay to score about 6 times. And it's just a feeling I had here. And if you need any, reassurance that, well, why would I want to trust your gut, Beastie? Well, I had this weird feeling yesterday about the Arizona Coyotes, and they hung 8 goals. Their first line was, accounted for 4 goals, like 8 assists. I'm projecting that same kind of work for Tampa Bay today in Chicago. Chicago Chicago is it's not the old Chicago Blackhawks team where they're scrappy, they can score in bunches. They're just kind of going through the motions here. So give me Tampa Bay second line, and I'll give you one more for good measure here. I love same time, 7 p.m. The New York Rangers go to Winnipeg to take on the Jets. Winnipeg has been a favorite of mine all season just because they got a guy like Pierre-Luc Dubois or Mark Lechifle and Blake Wheeler, and Kyle Connor's an absolute stud. And they go back and forth. Aside from Kyle Connor, who is $9,600, and he's very expensive on both slates here, but nobody pays attention to the secondary options in Winnipeg. So that's why they've been a favorite. And I say all that to say this: I would prefer the Rangers second line per usual. Ryan Strome, what's his name? Artem Perini, the bread man. And I believe, Chris Kreider goes back and forth, but right now it's probably going to be aside from like Barclay, Goodrow, and this kid named Julian Gaunter. Because when you look at Sunday games, most times, the coaches will move around the lines, just see if they can get a little bit of a spark going headed into the week. If not, boom, he puts them back to the regular line. So give me the New York Rangers second line. I think the Rangers hang 5 goals in this one too. Rangers beat Winnipeg 5-3. So this game is also very stackable to me. But of the slate, the overall slate here, I love the idea of Winnipeg 2, Tampa Bay 2, and the Buffalo's first line. And I have a couple little hidden gems here as we get to the end of the show for best bets relating to the Ottawa Senators playing in Vegas tonight. You're going to have to rewind. You're muted. You're muted there, Scotty G. Can't hear anything you're saying.
Man, oh man, I pulled a rookie move there, Beastie. I pulled a
what it's
rookie
like?
move, but
when I go out, like let's say I go to the grocery store real quick and I'm in line or I'm going and I see a guy, like a regular guy, and his zipper is unbuttoned. How do you approach a stranger do I got to whisper it in his ear? I mean, it's a weird situation. So without trying to embarrass folks, you just do the subtlety like this, and it usually works. But I know where you're at this morning because of last night.
Usually Beer's loud about it. He'd be like, "Oh boy, Scott is muted," but usually I just like to mute it if I know somebody's gonna be talking for a little bit. But I was just laughing here. You mentioned 8 goals. I don't know if you saw here in college hockey, but Michigan beat Michigan State yesterday 8-0. So
it was 4-0 in the first 3 minutes of the game. It was I watched the first 5 minutes. I was with Jonathan. We were watching a hockey game, and it was literally 4-0 within the first 3 minutes. And the goal that made it 4-0 was a shorthanded goal, literally right after the play-by-play guy said, "Oh, watch out for Michigan. They're dangerous shorthanded." And boom, they really took it to him.
Luke Hughes is something else. I'll tell you that. If the Red Wings can end up with Luke Hughes, man, they'd be really fortunate. I mean, that kid is fast as could be. I really like watching Michigan hockey. And those of you who don't know, Michigan hockey literally has 3 or 4 guys that were drafted in the top of the NHL draft. So they're just absolutely loaded. So I'm looking forward to see how they do in the NCAA tournament. But Beastie, we are getting to be that time of the day here where we got to look at some best bets. I don't want to get too much into NBA. There are some games, a couple early games. But NBA, like we mentioned, you just got to pay attention. Keep your ear to the ground. We got Brooklyn and Boston a little bit earlier. I actually do like the Celtics in this game, but we'll get to that one here. I think that one is going to be a part of my best bets, but I just want to mention it. But maybe we'll throw out some NBA up on our Twitter later today. But Beastie, we're at that time of the show, so let's give the people some winners today. What do you got?
Sure. I love a good Sunday, like a peaceful Sunday where you got nothing going on, nowhere to be, nowhere to go, and you can really dig in here. So looking at my notes, and I always try and share a picture of it. So my bets are going to be strictly based on today's hockey action. And let's go from latest to earliest. So the last game, the hockey game on the slate today is Ottawa is playing in Vegas. I love the idea of taking the under 5.5 goals in this one. Ottawa's kind of sputtering. They're one of the worst teams in the league. And Vegas is starting to come alive. Jack Eichel, they put him back in the line after, missing a healthy part of the season. And Vegas is rolling. Vegas is second line if you're looking for DFS purposes. But I think Vegas wins this one easily, 3-1, 4-1. Either way, I like the under 5.5 goals in this one. I like the New York Rangers. Come to find out, the New York Rangers are just a little bit of an underdog. So you can get the Rangers at plus 100. Seattle at Carolina. This might be a good parlay bet, a 60-minute final score. I think Carolina absolutely just shuts out Seattle 3-0. So you can make big money there, or if you want to go under 6. So let me replay that. Ottawa at Vegas, under 5.5 goals. Give me the New York Rangers money line at like plus 100, and give me Seattle at Carolina under 6. And if you want to toss in that 60-minute final score, not including overtime, give it to me Carolina 3-0 to shut out the Seattle Kraken.
Sounds good, Beastie. For me today, I have two bets I like. I'm going to roll with Rob and all the boys here. I'm going to roll with Rutgers today, given the 5.5 to Penn State at home. I just don't think Penn State has it in them to keep up. And then my other one for today, I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics here, early game at 1:00. I just think the Celtics at home against the Nets, who are still trying to figure out, even though they do have Durant back, I'm not really that concerned. I still am rolling with the Celtics. But Beastie, before we get out of here today, we appreciate everybody listening. The chat was a lot of fun today. We appreciate all you guys on the way out. If you guys could, hit that like button for us, hit that subscribe button. But Beastie, you got any words of wisdom on this Sunday? And we're supposed to be in 60 degrees today, so should be a pretty
absolutely.
nice day.
With the weather being so nice here in Metro Detroit, 60 degrees, maybe some of your friends and family will call you and go, hey, you want to come over and help me cut the grass or do a spring cleanup? It's okay to set boundaries, right? No, hey, mom, no, I can't do it. I want to rest and recharge, because I've said it a million times before. Setting boundaries is a good way to feel like peace and good within, because, again, if you're not right here, you're no help to anybody else. So it's cool to set boundaries. Enjoy the weather. Go sit on your deck with shorts and a T-shirt, whatever you got to do to rest and recharge as we turn the corner, turn the leaf over to spring here in Metro Detroit, Scott.
Yeah, you lazy bums that still got your Christmas lights up, go take them down already. I've seen a bunch of you with your Christmas lights still up. And hey, if you even still got your corn stalks and your Halloween shit up, get rid of that too, because I'm still laughing at you guys as well. But Beastie, it's always fun to be in here on a Sunday. Appreciate everybody listening. For Kareem, for Beastie, I am Scott. That is going to do it for the Woodward Bet Show. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks.